So hello and welcome, internet. First off, I'm not wearing a seatbelt because I'm not on a public road, so I'm not breaking the law. Second, of course, the most important thing, that's the theme of this video. Now, if you've been on the channel before, you may have seen a video or two where I confess my absolute disdain for touchscreens, which is odd considering that I put a touchscreen for a while in my car, but let's gloss over that. Now, the reason why I don't like touchscreens is not because I'm a luddite. It's quite the opposite. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I was able to witness, as a car enthusiast, the dissemination of very useful technology, I don't know, like cruise control and even central locking, to the introduction of new technologies, like parking sensors and Bluetooth. But there came a point where it seemed that car makers really ran out of ideas of things that they could put in cars that were actually useful, and began to cram them full of random gimmicks that are very flashy, but if you were to analyze them, probably reach the conclusion that maybe we could do without. So here are 4 things that I think that modern cars have that are absolute rubbish. And to balance that out, the next video will be on 4 things that modern cars have which are brilliant, and then we'll get back to form and I'll do another video of 4 things that I also dislike about cars. Sorry about the beeping, that's the parking sensors picking up the grass that I'm passing by. Now, this first thing might seem a bit odd, but it really gets on my nerves. It doesn't affect me much, it doesn't affect anyone much, but it's still silly. Now, we buy cars for many things, for many reasons. It might be practicality. Now, when we buy cars, there are lots of things we consider. The standard kit, the engine, the practicality, but I think a big thing are aesthetics, how good the car looks. And if you think about it, it's a bit weird because you're going to spend most of your time on the inside of the car and you won't be able to actually look at how nice your car is unless you step outside. But that happens, you know, when you're going away from your car and you like lock it and you look over your shoulder and think, damn, that looks hot. It's like you're looking at your beautiful girlfriend after you say goodbye. So that's not completely silly. What is silly though, for example, is having those LED indicators that have like patterns on them, because that's something you're never going to see unless, of course, your car's like being towed away. It's something that's, I think, just really silly. And, you know, at worst, it's going to cost you lots of money if anything happens to those indicators. Because my ones, you see, these have regular bulbs in them. And if that breaks, then yeah, it's going to be expensive, but not as expensive as one of those LED ones. Now, over the years, driving aids have been part of cars. In the 2010s, we began to get more driving aids. Things like the active cruise control, which is really good. And then you've got some lane keeping technology, which is rubbish. But suffice to say that I tried the lane keeping tech in the Netherlands when I drove a Hyundai Kona, and I found that to be absolutely appalling. You're driving along and the car, well, I should say the steering wheel, keeps tugging you in the wrong direction, keeps tugging you towards the sides and stuff, and it's very unnerving. I really didn't like it and I switched it off. And the thing about lane keeping technology is that it is absolutely unnecessary. The biggest effort you have to make while driving long distances, undoubtedly, is your foot on the pedal, on the throttle, keeping a constant speed. That's why cruise control is so handy. But doing what I am doing now, which is just gently turning the wheel while the car just wafts along, requires little to no effort. And the thing is, you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel even with lane keeping technology, because according to the car makers, you have to be able to take over at a moment's notice in case something comes up or the car tries to kill you, something along those lines. So you're still having to concentrate, which again is probably, I think that's probably the most tiring part, even more than your foot on the pedal, which makes the whole thing actually, I think, rather useless, wouldn't you say? Or at least at the very best, debatable. So here is another one for all the lazy people. A motorized tailgate. Let's just wait till it opens. How lazy do you have to be to need this? The very first review I did of this car, I severely criticized this. I also criticized the electronic handbrake, but that I can actually live with these days. I'm fine with that. But this, Let's just wait for it to go. Oh no, hang on a sec. I've regretted it. Too late. You can, by the way, I should point this out, if you want, you can stop it going up using the button on the remote control, on the key fob. But if you don't have it at hand, let's say you just dropped it like I did now, you have to aim for either this button or the button that's somewhere down here. And that's a lot harder than it seems. And that's not all. Sometimes the car goes into economy mode. In fact, it's going into economy mode quite a lot recently, so I think the battery may be on its way out. This economy mode thing switches off certain systems, you know, your radio, etc., to save battery. And one of the things it turns off is your motorized tailgate. So, you know, you want to leave and you go like this. Well, it's working now, but this goes beep, beep, and it stays there. And you have to either try to force it closed, which can be a bit of a pain in the ass, or turn the car on again. Depends which is more to hand, so to speak. This is rubbish. If this ever breaks, if one of these ever breaks, I'm replacing these with regular struts. Don't care. So for this last one, I am again criticizing technology that's just for lazy people. So you go up to your car, it's locked, as it should be. Oh, that was such hard work. And then you get in and you have to do this. Oh my God, that was such hard work instead of just pressing a button. How lazy do you have to be to need keyless entry? Now, I do remember the first time I had contact with keyless technology. It was with a friend of my sister's who had a Renault Scenic, and it had like a card. And you kept it in your pocket and the car would unlock itself. And I remember her being a bit flustered as the car would lock as she walked away, and then she'd go back and it would unlock, and she'd like, oh, because she wasn't used to it yet. And then I remember some years later, the battery in the keyless fob thing, the card, went flat. And I don't know how she fixed it. I don't know if there's a key in there or something, I don't know. And by the way, also, if you think about it, it is something that really makes your car vulnerable to theft. So you see on YouTube channels, thieves going up to houses with like a computer that amplifies the signal that the keyless card thing transmits. They amplify it, they open the car, they load it onto a trailer, and next day your car's in either Azerbaijan or being cut up into small pieces and sold to other people to fix their cars. At least I think that's how chop shops work, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a bit of a risk. Now, I'm not saying that people who have their cars nicked deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. You shouldn't have your car nicked. In fact, we shouldn't need keys at all. We should respect each other's property and not steal anything. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, so we have to take care. So why open yourself up to that? Why not have one of these things? These are really good. It's got a transponder in here, and there's a receiver where you put your key, and the car, you know, won't go anywhere without this. That's good. That's brilliant. But it has to be up close, otherwise it won't work. That's safe. So yeah, keyless technology, it's unsafe and it's lazy. So those are 4 things that I find that modern cars have that are totally unnecessary. If you like that, then stay tuned and I'll do another 4 things that modern cars have that are unnecessary. But in the middle, I'm going to try to balance it out and tell you 4 things that modern cars have that are absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, all of that jazz. And I bid you farewell. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.